you're selling your house, you need to protect yourself. These are 10 tips that will help you protect yourself if you're selling your home, and there is a bonus win at the end. Tip number 1 is over disclose the information that you know about your property. So before you even put your house on the market, you're going to fill out your seller disclosures. And the reason why that's so important is because it takes a lot of time to find the receipts and to document everything you know. And I'm telling you, it's better to over disclose than under disclose. Now, I did do a video last week. It's one of my favorite videos. It's called Don't Get Sued. And I go into a lot of detail about these disclosures. And I really want you guys to watch that. I'll link it down below, and I will have it linked at the end of this video. In last week's video, I forgot to add 2 more disclosures. Now, every homeowner, when you're filling out your disclosures, I want you to write this in your disclosures. It really is that important, okay? So get a pen out right now. I will put this clause right here on the screen, and I will also have that verbiage down below in my description box. Here it is. Seller advises buyer to contact local municipalities regarding local wildlife. Okay, one more time. Seller advises buyer to contact local municipalities regarding local wildlife. And why in the world would I put that in the seller disclosures? Okay, the reason why we're going to write that in our seller disclosures is because there was a lawsuit way back in the day where a lady purchased a home. She had a cat got eaten by a coyote, and the buyer actually sued the seller because they did not disclose that there were coyotes in the area. Okay, so we write that down. I know everybody's local area is different. Some of you have like buffalo and deer and rattlesnakes and gophers and skunks and all that. Like, you need to have a blanket clause, and that's what I advise my sellers to write in there, and I would advise you to do the same. The second statement you're going to write in those disclosures is that the buyer is responsible for verifying square footage, lot size, boundaries, and any permits on the property. Okay, that's not to say that if you have old appraisals that have a square footage value on it that you wouldn't want to produce that, or if you have any permits. I recommend that you over disclose. But if you put that statement in your disclosures, it kind of puts the responsibility back on the buyer. So if they do come back to you and say, oh, this is wrong, you said, hey, I told you, you got to do your own investigations. Tip number 2. I would contact your insurance company and ask them to increase your liability insurance. I mean, it can't hurt, right? It'll make you sleep better at night, especially if you watch my video, because you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much that can go wrong when you're selling your house. You're having people come into your house. You might even have workers working on fixing some things on your property. It's good to have higher insurance limits, just my opinion. And some insurance companies in different states actually offer insurance for homes that are vacant. So give them a call, tell them your situation, see what they recommend. Tip number 3. Now, I just got done doing this, and it's an undertaking. So whether you're selling your house or if you're just holding your property, I recommend you do this. And that is, you take your cell phone and you videotape and take pictures of every single thing in your house. So if something's stolen or damaged or lost, you have documentation of what contents are in your house. What happens if your house burns down because someone left a candle on or knocked a candle down or turned the oven on and something blew up and you're not there? How are you going to prove to your insurance company that the items that are on your property were really there when you don't have any evidence? So please do this for me. It's going to help you when you sell your house. If you say some things are stolen and you can't prove it, so I'm literally, I just got done opening every single one of my drawers. I took pictures of every single garment I have in my closet. This insurance agent told me that if the house were to burn down, they have you log into some site and you have to itemize every single little item to justify the amount that you have coverage. So let's say I have $500,000 worth of coverage. I have to justify that I have $500,000 of contents in my property. They don't automatically give me that $500,000 if my house were to burn down, okay? So maybe insurance companies are all different, but that's what mine told me. So that's why it's so important to document every single thing in your property. Like she told me, yeah, you can even write in there, I had 4 toilet paper rolls in the bathroom cabinet or whatever. Like, that's how detailed this has to be. Okay, You guys know what to do. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And honestly, it's free. It just really helps me get this content out to the masses. A lot of people don't know the information that I'm sharing with you right now. Okay, tip number 4. You guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but I post little signs that say, watch your step when there's any uneven surface areas in the property. So if there's like a sunken living room, I will put a sign up there. It's a little one, you can just make it however you want. I put it at the front door. If it's slightly raised, I put it near the stairs. And the reason why I do this is because I'm trying to limit the risk for the seller. Now, when you're going around and videotaping all the contents in your property, you're also going to make sure you're videotaping that you have all these signs up here, because you as a homeowner are showing that you really are trying to have visitors come into a house that is very safe, and you're letting them know that you're taking extra precautions. I know that's overboard, and I know you're like rolling your eyes, but this is what I do for my clients, and I suggest you do the same. Tip number 5, and you know I'm passionate about it, and I know you're all rolling your eyes because I say it in just about every video, but I don't care. I'm going to say it one more time, driving this home, and that is, I hate booties, okay? I've actually seen elderly people try to put the booties on, or just inflexible people like myself, and they're actually like trying to put the booties on and they fall over just putting the stupid booties on. And if it's a requirement that you are having as a seller for someone to view your property, they can sue you, okay? We can sue anybody for anything. So limit that. No booties. And if you ask someone to take their shoes off, just understand that they could have, fuzzy wuzzy socks, and you could have a slippery floor, and they injure themselves because it was a requirement. Now, as a listing agent, I always take my shoes off, and they usually get the hint like, hey, this is a no shoes kind of territory. And I hate those carpet liners. First of all, it's ugly, and people fall down on them, and women get their heels in them and they poke through them and they fall over. So I'm just recommending that you take any hazardous kind of stuff that could potentially create harm to your visitors out of the picture. Okay, tip number 6, and that is, if anybody's coming to an open house, I think it's the listing job's responsibility to make sure that it's secure. So I put a sign like this, if you can see it, right up front before the visitor even gets to the front door. And this says, for security reasons, we request you sign in before taking the tour, okay? So you guys might want to write that down. And the reason why that's important is because if there's any bad guys, they're going to be like, I don't know, I won't let anybody in an open house unless they're willing to sign in. And I hand them this iPad right here, and I have them sign in. Now, the beauty of that is that when people come to the front door, they're like, okay, where do I sign in? I'm already giving them a choice. Hey, split or sign in. I'm going to be honest with you. Everybody thinks that, oh, the realtors, they just want to, do open houses so they can get leads. I'm too busy. I don't have time to track you down, but I do want to know who the heck is coming in at the property. And if you are working with the listing agent, you're going to require them to do the same for you. Now, when people are signing in to my iPad, I let them know that my iPad has fingerprinting scanning capabilities, and if they are a criminal, we'll track them down. I'm serious. I do say that, and they're all looking at me like, really? I'm like, hey, we're trying to secure the property. All right, that's a little bit overboard. You don't need to have your agent say that, but I'm also laughing as I say it. Tip number 7 is you are going to write in your listing contract that only agents from the brokerage firm can hold open houses or can privately show the property. You don't want some other agent from a different brokerage house holding open houses. And some of you are like, well, yeah, that makes sense. No, it happens all the time. In fact, I probably get 1 or 2 calls a day from agents saying,
hey, Audra, you have all these listings. I would love to do an open house for you.
And they're from a different brokerage house. Now, a lot of these listing agents are like,
oh, good. I don't want to sit at an open house
because it's a lot of work.
I'll go get Billy Bob to go do my open house, even though he's with a different brokerage firm.
No, are you kidding? That is way too much risk for you. Understand, when you write that listing contract or you sign it, you're signing an agreement with the broker, okay? Not the agent. You're not signing a listing contract with Audra Lambert. You're signing a listing agreement with my brokerage house. If something happens to me, I can't do the listing anymore, they just hire another agent, meaning another agent from the brokerage house, because the agreement is between you and the brokerage house. So if you're having another brokerage agent come in to your house that they have no agreement with you whatsoever, and you have limited recourse for them, like, no, you don't know if they're a good agent. You don't even know if they know anything about real estate, and they're probably only there to get leads from your open house. So make sure you have an agreement in place. I would write that in the listing agreement. I would make sure you tell your agent that there is no one on the property showing the house, representing the house, okay, unless it's with the brokerage firm that they have signed an agreement with. I hope you guys understand the significance of that. Tip number 8 is go buy security cameras and post them in the inside of your house so you know what's going on. Now, the benefit of this is that you can spy on your agent and you can spy on the visitors, okay? And that's important. I just had one of my clients reach out to me this morning saying, Audra, I have this property in Utah. I'm trying to sell it. I don't get any feedback from my agent. I don't know if they're even showing the property. I don't know if the lights are on. I don't even know if any visitors are actually coming to the property. And I'm like, what? Well, go buy cameras. Like, come on, off you go. You can buy them pretty cheap on Amazon. She's like, you know what? That's a great idea. So I'm going to recommend you do the same, okay? You need to hold your agent accountable. Not that you're trying to spy on them, but hey, if they're just not showing up or they're not doing a good job of preparing your house and it's vacant and you're paying them a lot of money, like you need to have some conversations with them. And if there are people coming to the property and the agent's not showing up and it's on lockbox and you see somebody like putting their shoes on the couch and their kids are jumping all around and the house is being abused, like you want to know that and you want to have a conversation with your agent about it. Now, I highly suggest that you put this type of warning out front, and a lot of you are like, Audra, that sign is so tacky and we don't have to do that in my state. Okay. People, you can be right or you can be dead right, okay? And the reason why I suggest you do that is one of two things. Number one is it puts people on alert, like, ooh, I'm gonna be on better behavior because I'm being taped. Now, whether or not you have cameras or not, I say, put this up anyway, okay? Come on, guys. And second of all, we got a lot of people that are really sensitive about their privacy issues. And in California, we have to post a sign up like this if it's actually being recorded for audio, okay? But do realize anybody can sue you for anything. So it's always I just say, overdo it. You're trying to protect yourself. And this is just a short period of time in your life. And, just make yourself a tacky sign and you'll thank me later. Tip number 9, I highly suggest that the seller provide a home warranty to the buyer. It is very customary in my area, and a lot of my homeowners get really ticked that they have to pay for a home warranty. And not that they have to, but that I suggest it. The reason why I suggest it is because it's the cheapest insurance policy you can take out, okay? Because Murphy's Law happens as soon as you move off that property and your buyer takes possession, and then the whole house gets mad that you're leaving, and it starts breaking down and crying. So the garbage disposal doesn't work, the oven doesn't work, the shower blows up, there's a slab leak, like things happen when buyers take possession of your house. And so if they ever come back to you and say, hey, you didn't disclose this and blah, 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 and you're gonna say, I'm sorry, but you know what? It was working when we left, and here's the good news. I provided you a home warranty plan to cover all this because during that home inspection, everything was working perfectly. And when you did your final walkthrough, everything was working perfectly. So it really minimizes some legal disputes and it protects you. That is, it protects you as the seller. It's worth the money. Tip number 10. Okay, every state is different, so you're going to reach out to your local trusted agent and ask them what the proper code is. But in California, we are required to have smoke detectors, CO detectors, and our water heaters have to be braced properly because of earthquake stuff. And it's actually written in the listing agreement that the seller has to provide this. And in the purchase offer, it's also hard-coded in there that the seller has to have those things in place within 7 days of accepting an offer. Those smoke detectors have to be less than 10 years of age, and they have to have the date of installation written on the device. Now, a lot of homeowners are like, oh, it's good enough, not a big deal. Like, how do they know? And the inspector wasn't maybe catching it, or the appraiser didn't catch that the smoke detectors weren't up to code or were older. Do realize that if for some reason your house burns down after the buyer takes possession and it comes down to, oh, the smoke detectors weren't functioning properly, you could potentially, as a seller, be liable because you do not adhere to the California code or whatever code in your state, okay? So make sure you understand that is an extremely important thing not to skimp on. It's so important that I actually tell my sellers, hey, just replace them all, put new dates on them, and then when you're actually going around and videotaping everything on your house before you put it on market, make sure you get evidence that those smoke detectors were actually installed and they were up to code, and even show some receipts in that video. Okay, my final tip is, of course, you're going to videotape and record and take pictures of all the contents in your property before you put it on the market. And the tip here is, when you move off the property and everything's removed and the property is clean and in good condition, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go around and you're going to take video pictures, you're going to open every cabinet, you're going to take images of the side yard. You need to prove that you left the property in great condition. And I think you know why. You don't want your buyer to come back and accuse you of damaging walls, or you won't believe some of the crazy stories. So it's always a good idea to show proof of the condition that you actually left the property in. All right, thanks so much for watching. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Audra Lambert. I'm one of the top selling agents in Orange County, California. And if you got any benefit out of this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.